Hi 3W, I hope you like the little part of the story that I read yesterday. I've had some of your feedback and what you think might happen, so we're going to carry on and let's see if it's true, what you think. Okay, so we're at the point where the Snargets are chasing Barney through the dump. Okay? But Barney did not mean to double back. As quietly as he could, so that his pursuers could not hear him through the nettle banks and the elder trees, he made for the entrance to Stig's den, flung himself through the low doorway, and collapsed, puffing, blowing, and pleased with himself on the floor of the cave. Stig was there, busy making himself a really horrible looking club out of a tree root into which he was fixing bits of flint, broken glass, and rusty nails. "Hello, Stig," panted Barney. "I'm jolly glad to see you." But when he saw the horrible club, he began to feel almost sorry for the Snargets. He couldn't set this monster on to the three little boys who hadn't really done anything to him yet. It may have been only a game, after all. You never could tell with the Snargets. Barney just smiled uncertainly at Stig, and Stig returned him a friendly grin. Then, from outside, came the sound of the Snargets calling to each other. "Has he gone back your way, Ted?" "No, I ain't seen him." "Must be hiding round about here somewhere." There were sounds of the undergrowth being beaten and stones being flung into the bramble patches. Stig listened and looked at Barney suspiciously, but Barney made signs to be quiet. "Caw, wait till I get my hands on you, Mr. Barney, wherever you are," came the voice of the eldest Snarget. "I'm all nettle stings one side of my face. Well, roll him in the nettles when we get him. That's what we'll do." He sounded as if he meant it, and Barney felt he was not quite so sorry for the Snargets. Footsteps crackling on dry twigs sounded quite close to the den. Barney moved further back into the cave and made signs to Stig to do the same. But Stig stayed near the entrance, bristling. Suddenly, the voice of the youngest Snarget piped up excitedly. "There's a knoll here! A knoll! Come out of it!" And a large lump of chalk came flying through it into the entrance and hit Stig smack on the side of the head. Stig gave a roar and charged out of his doorway. Barney threw himself after him to see what would happen. The youngest Snarget gave one pop-eyed, disbelieving look at Stig and turned and fled, sobbing and screaming. "Ah! It's a cave! It's a cave! It's a cave! It's a caveman!" The other Snargets, who had been closing in when they heard the youngest cry of discovery, saw Stig and turned and ran too. "Wait for me! Wait! Don't leave me!" wailed the youngest, and then uttered a shrill scream of terror as he put his foot through the bottom of a rusty enamel basin and fell headlong. "Help! Help! Help! He's got me! He's got me! He's got me!" Almost as alarmed as the young Snarget, Barney ran up to where Stig was standing over the boy, who was shivering and moaning with fright and looked as if he was expected to be eaten on the spot. But Stig was standing there, looking down at the fallen William Tell Snarget, with an almost fatherly look in the eye. He bent down to help the boy to his feet, and the Snarget moaned feebly, Don't! Then seeing Barney approaching, he turned his eyes pitifully towards Barney and wailed, "Don't let him hurt me! Don't let him hurt me! I wasn't doing no harm." But Stig kept hold of him and led him firmly but gently towards the den. The Snarget gang, troublemakers though they were not as black as they were painted. What does that mean? Not as black as they were painted? Have a little think about that and maybe email me your answers and what you think not as black as they were painted actually means. Anyway, they weren't the men to abandon one of their number to his fate, and perhaps too they had an idea that violence was not always the way to get things done. Stig, Barney and their captive had not been long inside the den before there came the sound of hesitant footsteps from nearby. Barney looked out, and there were the two other Snargets standing meekly together unarmed, and holding paper packets in their hands. The middle brother also held a handkerchief which might have been supposed to be a white flag tied to a stick. We got gifts, said the one with the white flag. Yes, said the other one. We've come for our little one. Barney hesitated. You better come in, he said, but no tricks. Not likely, said the middle snaggot. Not with that there pal of yours about. They came in through the doorway, saw Stig for the first time close up, and stopped, their eyes growing rounder and rounder. Then the second of them took a step forward gingerly, holding out his hand with a paper bag on it. For you, he said in a shaky voice. It's jelly babies. Stig took the little bag in puzzled manner, squeezed it, smelt it, turned it about in his hands. Barney realised that though he was clever at a lot of things, he was sometimes surprisingly ignorant about such things as paper bags. Then, as he turned the bag in his hairy hands, one jelly baby fell out onto the floor. Stig's eyes widened, and he stooped to pick it up, and he held it to the light of the lamp which was flaming in the back of the cave, with a pleased expression on his face. Then he reverently stood the little sweetmeat in a niche in the chalk and stood and looked at it. What do you think Stig thinks the jelly baby is? He stood it up in his cave. Do you think he thinks it's something to eat? You're supposed to eat it, Stig, said Barney, getting rather tired out of the pantomime. It's delicious. He went across to the jelly baby's little niche and popped it into his own mouth. Stig looked horrified, and Barney was afraid for a moment he was going to hit him. There's more in the bag, Stig, he said hurriedly, and he took the bag from Stig and opened it and showed him the other little jelly figures. Go on, eat one, he urged. Stig took one between his fingers and thumb, put it slowly in his mouth and chewed it slowly. Barney and the Snaggots watched anxiously. Then a smile slowly began to spread over his face. The Snaggot, who had been standing there, strained and tensed, sighed with relief and smiled too. Somehow everyone felt as though some very solemn ceremony had been performed. Barney handed round the bag, and all 5 of them solemnly ate jelly babies. Then the middle Snaggot produced his second gift, which was a little bag of fizzy sherbets with hollow sticks of licorice stuck in them to suck it through. They sat down to this. After a little instruction, Stig got the idea of how to suck the fizzy powder up through the little tube. But as soon as he got a mouthful and felt the unusual sensation on his tongue, he jumped up with an alarmed expression on his face and began coughing and spluttering. And the Snaggots weren't sure whether to laugh or be alarmed too. But Barney banged Stig on the back, which impressed the Snaggots even more and managed to soothe him down again. Finally, with a flourish, the eldest Snaggot produced a packet of Woodbine cigarettes and handed them round. All 3 Snaggots took one as if it was quite a usual thing, but this time it was Barney's turn to hesitate and wondered whether he should. And if he wished to show them they were all friends now. Stig took one, beaming, and without even looking to see what the others were doing with it, put it in his mouth. The smallest Snaggot suddenly exclaimed, he's eating it! And before they could do anything, Stig had chewed up the little tube of tobacco and swallowed it with a great satisfaction. The Snaggots and Barney lit their cigarette at the lamp. Barney immediately choked on his and threw it away and decided he didn't like smoking. The smallest Snaggot puffed away and turned first white and then green, and the other 2 smoked away quite happily, but Stig, though he ate another one, could not be persuaded to send up in smoke what he considered to be nourishing food. Do you think that they should be smoking? I don't think so. The Snaggots began to feel at home. He's all right, your pal, Stig, said the eldest Snaggot to Barney. He don't say much though, do he? Don't he speak English? Smashing place he's got here and all, said the second. Gaw, look at them old spears. I weren't really feared of him, piped up the youngest. I was just making out I was. Do you think he was just making out that he was scared of Stig, or do you think he was really scared? The others agreed in chorus. Barney felt a warm feeling inside now that the Snargets reckoned he and his friend Stig were all right. I tell you what, went the eldest Snarget, Stig and Barney will be part of our gang from now on, and we'll all swear an oath, won't we? Won't none of us tell no one about this here den? Barney was going to agree. Then he thought, well, it was his secret first anyway, so why should he swear about it with anybody? But the Snargets swore a horrible oath among themselves over the body of the last jelly bean in the bag, which they then cut the head off and buried to show what would happen to any of them who broke their oath. Barney felt fairly sure that his secret would not spread around the village now, and he felt somehow that Stig and the Snargets would get along very well together. Barney was quite surprised when he got back to his grandmother's house to find that he was in good time for lunch and Granny was dishing up dumplings. Did you find something to do outside, dear? Asked his grandmother. Not a very nice day. I had super fun with the Snargets, Granny. First I bombed them, and then they were going to lynch me or torture me or something, but I got away to Stig's den, and they thought Stig was going to eat one of them, but we ate babies instead, you know, jelly ones. Yes, but they're not nearly as rough as Stig, I reckon. They're all right, said Barney. And that's the end of the chapter. I hope you enjoyed listening, Year 3. Our next chapter is chapter 6, Skinned and Buried. And I'll leave it there. See you tomorrow. Bye.